Okay, so obviously beauty is subjective, and this video itself is just to ask you a question. Like, I'm legitimately curious to what you guys think. And that is whether or not maybe I'm becoming a little bit too political, and maybe I am the only one that is noticing on Netflix that most women that are being cast in modern shows, woke shows as they call them, are either mediocre looking, like plain looking, or they're downright ugly. And I noticed this because I was watching Cobra Kai recently, and it just felt like it's a vibe of the 90s as I'm watching that show, which has no right of being that good. And the main women in the show, Tori and the daughter of LaRusso, are actually starred by very beautiful women. They're beautiful looking. They're like actresses are supposed to be. Like when you watch movies in the 90s, that's kind of how women used to look like. So I was like, huh, that's kind of interesting. And it's funny because the next day, my wife actually points this out to me. She was watching a historical movie, and she didn't understand why in Europe some of the aristocrats in France were black women. It is very difficult for me to explain it to her, to explain the Netflix phenomenon to her, because she doesn't know anything about American politics. She doesn't know anything about all of the progressive ideology. She's a Romanian woman, doesn't even speak really well English, which is why I don't have her on this channel. But, like she noticed that. And the next question that she asked is like, why are all the women ugly in most of these Netflix shows? And, like I said, well, maybe, that's what she thinks. That's her opinion. But then I saw this on Reddit, which was posted 3 days ago. And it's the exact experience of some other person that was watching Wheel of Time with his girlfriend. Now, I personally haven't watched Wheel of Time because it's on Netflix, so I automatically assume that it's going to be bad whenever they take a book adaptation. The only thing that Netflix does good is Korean films, or foreign films in general. But anything that's American, especially if it's inspired by a book or something like that, I'm like, you know what? Pass. Hard pass. Maybe I'm missing out. I'll never know. But this person is pointing out how he is upset because the TV show has departed from the books. But here he says that the woke casting is problematic. So two women, Igwen and Nyanevi, are straight up ugly. In fact, my girlfriend mentioned to me that she's noticed that lately, woke shows seems to only cast ugly women. So this is a feeling that I experience. This is a feeling that my wife experiences. Now I'm seeing it on Reddit. So I'm asking you guys, do you also feel that this is the case in TV shows on Netflix? Are they actually casting ugly women? And I don't think necessarily that the women themselves are ugly as actresses. But what they do is in the costume department, they kind of hide away their femininity. I mean, it's kind of like the Star Wars Rey effect. So if you look at Rey, she is incredibly plain looking. The hair is tied. She's wearing plain clothes, baggy clothes that cover up all her feminine features. But when you actually look how the actress herself dresses, you notice that no, she's actually a very beautiful woman. It's just that the creators who made Star Wars didn't want her to show her feminine sexuality in the movie. And there is another controversy with Iris from CW, from Flash, where she makes a photo with her exposing her belly. And the fan asked, is this going to be a costume for Iris? And she actually says, no, they would never allow me to show my belly on television. And they used to allow women to show revealing clothing in movies. I mean, if it's a movie that's marketed towards teenage boys, of course. But now they actively, we have confirmation that they actively do this. Like, they're very conscientious about how women are supposed to look. And I guess they don't want the religious people to be offended by showing abs or something. They're probably thinking about the Academic Agent and, oh my god, I'm not getting into that controversy because that's not what he really meant. But he had abs in the title. But okay, fine, whatever. My point is that the problem that I have with this is the immersion breaking aspect of it. Just stop with the Academic Agent. It's calm, okay? We moved on. We're past that. Just calm down. Shh. Don't go into the comments with that. Just moving past. The immersion breaking thing. You're still thinking about the agent. I broke out laughing when the tall, ripped 9 out of 10 Lan starts gushing over the stocky, ugly 3 out of 10 Nyanaeve. So the men are very buffed. They're looking great. They're athletic. They're at the peak. So the men have unrealistic standards of beauty, as the left likes to call them. And they're fawning over these very mediocre looking women, very, very plain looking women. And I think I know exactly how to point it out, that it's very similar to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the one on Netflix. So you look at Teela, and if you remove her makeup, as some people did, she looks like a man. Although, I'm sorry, I realized I'm not supposed to say that, because now it's offensive to say that a woman looks like a man. I got it from the controversy with Ace Ventura and the ending. I've been informed by journalists that it's not okay to say that a woman looks like a man, and even if she did, so what? So instead, I will just have to rearrange my speech. I have to... Okay, so if you remove Teela's makeup, she looks like a Democrat. So when you look at Teela, I mean, she is... Yeah, it's a 3 out of 10, okay? Like, I'm not interested in dating her if she was a real woman. No way, Jose. But then you look at He-Man, and he is a 10 out of 10, or at least, you know, he's at the peak of his prime, very athletic. He could probably have any woman he wants. He's a prince, he's rich, he's wealthy, he's in peak human conditioning. And yet he's fawning over this woman that doesn't even look good, but she's also rotten to the core. I mean, when He-Man died, in order to save Eternia and protect her, she went to his parents, and his parents, while they were grieving because they just lost their son, she's like, oh, what about me, though? He lied to me, and he did this to me. It's like, why don't you think about my pain and my suffering? And, like, my jaw is dropped at that point. How narcissistic she is and how self-centered she is. Like, she's a rotten person. It's how the left would say, a toxic personality. So she does very poorly in the looks department. She does awfully when it comes to the personality department. And yet, for some reason, I'm supposed to believe that He-Man is still drooling over her. When he can have, like, literally any woman he wants in the kingdom, as long as she's single. Like, what woman would say no to a prince? That's also heroic, brave, intelligent. Like, literally all of the positive attributes known to mankind exist in He-Man. And he is dating Teela? Really? Why? Right? So you get to see this, and it feels so forced. It feels so unrealistic. Like, I can't connect. It's not like the Disney romances or even the anime romances that you get to see in various romantic shows. It's like, I don't feel any connection there. I just don't feel any love. So it's just my opinion, but I'm really curious to know what you guys think about it. Am I exaggerating? Like, do I see politics in everything? Or is this something that's done on purpose? Are they desperately going out of their way to remove femininity from women, making them either mediocre, plain looking, or ugly, while the men are still buff, they're still ripped, they're still good to go? And it just feels so immersion breaking when you're looking at these shows. Like, you wonder, like, what does this guy see in this woman? Very similar to how Invincible was fawning over that girlfriend, which I forgot her name, but she was also with a rotten personality and plain looking, and all of the fandom hated that relationship. I mean, there's chemistry between Invincible and Atom Girl. The chemistry is there, but when it came with the other chick, no one liked it, and the press and the writers were starting calling the fans misogynistic, completely ignoring the fact that the reason people didn't like that relationship is because she had a toxic character. The exact same thing that we saw in He-Man. Like, she's putting herself first. She's not bringing anything to the relationship besides her body. And she chastises the superhero for trying to defend and save other people. So it's just disgusting. Like, why would you put up with such a rotten personality when, again, he can have other girls? So my question is, why do they keep doing this? First of all, is it just me? Like, am I the only one who noticed that they're making an effort in order to have plain looking women casted as characters. Whether it is in drawing or whether it is in TV show, that is the trend that I see. And secondly, why is their character so obnoxious? Like, okay, fine, you don't want beautiful women on the screen, even though people can go to Twitch or OnlyFans and find only that. But like, why even the character needs to be obnoxious? Why do they have to be ugly on the inside? Why is this ugliness of the soul? Where most relationships are usually done with the woman offering absolutely nothing and just criticizing the superhero, just constantly belittling him, and it's just so weird, you know. And this is also what the guy on Reddit was saying, is that when you watch The Wheel of Time, all the women are powerful, they're strong, and all the strength is being given to her. They outperform men in every single issue. And, you know, no one wants to watch that. Women don't want to watch that either. Because women have fathers and they have sons, they have brothers, they have boyfriends. Like, they don't think that women as people are better than men unless they're like radical and extremists and they're being spurned by life. But the overwhelming amount of women aren't like that. Most women think that men and women complete each other. At least in Romania. I don't know how it's like over there. But anyway, let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the comment section. Take care.